Khamzat Chimaev just absolutely dominated Dricus du Plessis to become the middleweight champion of the world. Overall, UFC 319 was a pretty good fight card with some wild upsets and some very straightforward performances. I gotta start that over.
No.
Dude, that's too big.
We're not starting over. Stop, man. Stop.
I said put
the real Angelo, the fucking stuttering Stanley. This is the real fucking Angelo. People don't realize that we go through fucking retakes like 50 times just so you
we literally never. I'm one take Ange, and just on a hungover Saturday morning when I was up till 2 filming, I had a little bit of a stumble.
Boo. I was up until 3, so calm down.
Oh, easy, okay. I was up till 3:06.
Easy. I had to beat you by an hour. So.
Well, the question becomes, what's next for the fighters from UFC 319?
Yeah.
My name is Angelo. This is Josh Thompson, and welcome to What's Next episode of Bad Takes. Josh, what did you think of the fights?
Look, I think everyone kind of felt the same way. Like, we expected a lot more action-packed main event, but we got a straight domination. Like, you couldn't, all the questions that I needed answers to, I got fucking answers to. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. Like, I had questions about cardio. I had questions about, was it COVID long? Was it overtrained? I really honestly believe his time in LA with Sam Calavita and those guys, and working alongside guys like Aaron Pico and Armand Sarukian and working in the garage, someone that monitors his actual heart rate. He's probably doing blood work at least once or twice every 2 weeks. Like, just figuring it out that you don't need to kill your body all the time. That was one of the biggest culprits for me. Was I used to just fucking beat myself up, like to the point where I just couldn't function in sparring and training, even in practice. My coaches would get so mad at me, but it was like I always felt like I had to do one more thing. This guy, I honestly believe, but for a while I thought it was the COVID lungs, right? We thought like, okay, he had really bad COVID. Maybe that's the problem, and that was an excuse. Then I was like, okay, well, let's play around. If it's not COVID, then maybe 170 is not the place for you because you're cutting way too much weight, which I honestly believe now after that performance last night. Stay away from 170, dude. Like
he's too big.
Yeah, you're too big. Like, you can just see, people call DDP big. Like, you were the same size, and the way you dominated him, stylistically, it was a good matchup. I think all of us expected a better performance from DDP in terms of grappling.
Something. Thought he would do something. Yeah.
Yep. And then I think when I started watching the fight, the very first takedown right to the crucifix, for 4 minutes, he was in the crucifix, with little baby shots, But to be honest, in what you want in an ideal world, if I'm Chimaev, was, bro, this is a perfect round for me. I just relax, stay composed, understand that he's putting him in a bad position, making him work, all of those things. In the second round, DDP did it to himself in the second round. He didn't even try to get up. He was just on.
He literally was just tucking his head.
Yeah, tucked in one knee against the fence. Like, stand up, do something, create a scramble, make him work. And you saw in the 5th round when both were tired a little bit more, like there was, I wouldn't say exhausted or tired, but it was like a little bit more fatigue. 5 rounds or 25 minutes into the fight, that, DDP had a little bit more success. He landed 1 punch.
And that's what was funny. People went berserk when DDP actually landed a punch. And it's like, the reason that seemed so impactful and so crazy is because he did nothing for 23 minutes. So at the 24-minute mark, when he lands a couple of shots, it's like, oh, here we go. It's like, no. This was, that was the most dominant, without a finish, the most dominant performance I have ever seen. I have never seen somebody win 24 and a half minutes of a 25-minute fight with nothing the other way. Nothing came in. Like, he dealt with there was no adversity whatsoever. DDP stood up, boop, scrambled back to the ground. Khamzat Chimaev, he smoked DDP. So the question is, who can beat Khamzat? I've got a couple of matchups here. Okay. Who do you have next for Khamzat?
I think it's going to come down to, it's going to be either Imavov or Kybahalo, unless they both shit the bed. It ends up being a shitty fight. Then you throw DDP in there. I think it's kind of already laid itself out, correct? I mean, like, that's kind of where I think we're at.
I actually think RDR is the only one that could maybe, dude. I think Fluffy, people hate this take. I don't think Fluffy Hernandez is who everybody says he is. He doesn't have any wins over top 10 people. Like Roman Dolidze was technically what 11 or something. He doesn't have top 10 wins.
Yeah, you got 2 guys at number 1 and number 5, and then you also got RDRs.
I'm going through the list.
Ranked above Fluffy. Fluffy's like a fucking afterthought.
I know, but Fluffy now has the longest win streak in the division. I'm just going through the list. Okay. People are calling for Fluffy. He's got the longest win streak in the division. No. He doesn't have any top 10 wins.
No.
You have to see how Caio Borralho and Imavov goes in 2 weeks now in Paris.
Yeah.
But you have RDR. In my mind, it's got to be RDR because A, he's huge. That guy is huge. He's tremendous. He's huge. He has high-level grappling. I don't think Imavov's going to stop the wrestling. Brendan Allen dominated Imavov in that first round with wrestling. There's no way that that's going to happen. He's not going to defend Khamzat's takedown. He can't defend Brendan Allen's. And I don't think Caio Borralho, I don't think he's there yet. He also is a guy that doesn't have these beautiful signature wins yet. So I think it's got to be RDR.
Look, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. I think what you're going to see, though, is whoever performs the best between the Imavov and Caio Borralho fight, if one of those guys looks spectacular, if they get a knockout, I mean, you got to feed into that. You have someone, Caio Borralho's undefeated, I believe? Or does he have a loss
in the UFC?
Yeah, he's undefeated in the UFC, but I think he's either undefeated. I know he's undefeated in the UFC. I'm not sure if he has a loss before that. That being said,
he has 1 loss in his career.
Yeah, so if he ends up having a highlight reel knockout over Imavov, they've got no choice.
But here's his wins. Jared Cannonier, 40. We just watched what happened. Paul Craig, terrible. Abus Magomedov, no cardio. McCall and Jacek, only a striker. Mahmoud Muradov, no longer in the UFC. Armin Prigozhin, only a striker. Gadzi Amaguziev, no longer in the UFC. Jesse Murray, Aaron Jeffrey. I've never heard those names in my life.
Okay, look, I've heard of all of them because I actually watched the sport. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. I do get it. I would agree with you, but I also think that they're trying to strike while the iron's hot. He's undefeated in the UFC. It's no different than what you just saw right now with Chimaev. Chimaev being explosive, dominant, undefeated in the UFC. Gets a takedown in the first minute of every single one of his fights. Like, he just dominated the champion. All the questions, like I said, that I needed answers to, I got him last night. Cardio is fantastic. He's got a great coach now with Sam Calavita in terms of his conditioning, making sure he's not overtrained. He is on track. I think no one's going to beat him for a while. What I do think is, I think the winner of the fight is going to obviously, the winner of the Imavov and Caio Borralho fight, if it's spectacular, one of those guys will get it. If it's not spectacular, it ends up being a decision, not great fight, nothing really stands out to you, RDR is going to get it. He's going to jump the line. But I do have somebody else. Okay. For DDP. DDP to me that's the Fluffy Hernandez fight you need.
I have that matchup as well.
That is the fight to make. I know you probably listened to my commentary last night. That's why I saw you on my live stream. I saw it. I got it.
So God forbid we support for the media room.
I love it.
I was like, let's put it on the TV. We'll support Josh from the media room.
I love it, man. I appreciate that. Not a bad video. Like, honestly, it was like a last minute decision. We did it probably. I put it up at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, something like that. And shit, I think after 20 minutes of the car, me wrapping up on the card, I think we were at almost 10, 11,000 views. So it was pretty good. I felt good about it.
People like fight companions. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a fight companion. It's just me. That's the thing.
You're the viewer's companion.
Yeah. You just got to fucking be able to talk, man. There's if you don't have something to drink, you're in trouble. It's your throat's getting dry. You're like, fuck, this is horrible. And you don't want to get up. So I've got 4 bottles next to me. I've got my sippy cup. I've got everything I need.
A pea cup. I get it. Yeah.
I don't have that. I'm a man. I can hold it, buddy. But I think, honestly, if you're talking straight fun fights to make, I know it's a big drop down in competition, but DDP versus Fluffy Hernandez would be a fucking spectacular fight.
I think those are. I think that makes sense. So I'm saying RDR should be next for the title shot no matter what. You're saying if the Imavov Borralho fight is exciting, that person should get the title shot. Fine. I think both are okay.
Yeah.
And we're both on the same side with DDP versus Fluffy because this is Fluffy's opportunity to fight somebody highly ranked. We just watched DDP get out grappled easily. Fluffy's a good grappler. I think it's a good matchup. Both of them, obviously DDP's win streak came to an end. He had the longest active win streak in the division. It's now Fluffy's longest active win streak. So I think there's a couple of cool matchups to make there. Middleweight division is the best it's ever been. If we go down one slot in the card to the co-main event, Aaron Pico, highly touted prospect, and the world was split I was on Camp Pico. I said, this guy's a phenomenal wrestler. He's a phenomenal striker. He's a very good fighter with power and everything he needs to be successful here. Lerone Murphy's a point fighter. I don't see this being a huge problem. And then the other half of the world was Bellator fighters suck. They don't have success in the UFC. They come over, they get smoked. Look what happened to Patchy Mix. That half was correct. I will say, Aaron Pico was winning that fight. He looked good. He was getting the takedowns. The hands looked good. There was a random knee, but he seemed unaffected. And then the most perfectly timed spinning back elbow I've ever seen. The point of the elbow, like, it was perfect. Put him out, done. So now, what do you do with Lerone Murphy, who is undefeated, just keeps beating people? And then what do you do with Aaron Pico, who you just spent a bunch of money on? You told the world how good he is, and he had a half of a good performance before getting flatlined.
Look, there's a lot of things to unpack in this whole fight, man. Like, Pico was looking good up until the moment. And obviously everyone, you guys all know, if you're listening to this show, you listen to my other show as well. Probably you're like, you're a homer for your boy. Of course I am. Of course. Like, I've known Aaron Pico since he was 14, 15 years old. We both had the same agent when he came into the sport. He's from that Whittier area, but he's also has a really good relationship with guys that were my agents, the Zinkins and the whole family, and then plus Bob Cook and everybody. So he's an actually fantastic person. So I'm not going to say anything negative about it. Look, this is the fight game. This is the shit that happens. This is what we signed up for. He knew this could happen. It happened to him. It sucks because he, like you said, he was looking good, but let's be honest. Looking good for 3 minutes of the fight or 4 minutes of the fight, it's just not enough to unpack. Like, I'm just not enough for me to say, like, oh, he was going to dominate and win the fight. No. That's why we fight the fight. Like, there's still a lot of time left. Take a look. If you're convinced over the 3 minutes of, that he's going to be a champion, I believe he's got the drive. He's got all the push to be a champion. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. I mean, but I've seen guys dominate fights. Chimaev dominated this fight the whole time. We got all emotional. Oh, he's going to do something with, a minute left. That didn't work out. On the flip side, you have guys like Chael Sonnen, who dominated the whole time against, Anderson Silva, then gets caught at the end with a minute 40 or minute 47 left, right? So all of those things, you can't take too much away from just the 3 minutes. I thought he looked great. I expected him to look like that. Got clipped, got caught. What are the odds, though? You have two spinning back elbow finishes
Back to back.
Spectacular. It was insane. What do I do with Lerone Murphy? I think there's one of two options. You give him Yair Rodriguez or you give him a title shot. I honestly think that they set it up because he keeps talking title. He's brought it up. It sounds like that they kind of pitched him. The winner of this fight may get a title shot if you guys look impressive. He looked impressive. He did a good job of getting back up to his feet. There was a lot of things that I could say about Lerone Murphy in terms of he did what he's supposed to do. You got to win, and you did it in impressive fashion to the newcomer. I don't know. It sucks because he's my boy with Pico, but I can't knock at Lerone just because, hey, Pico's my guy. He did a great job, great performance, highlight reel knockout. I think on to the next one. Either Yair or you give or Volk. Those are my two.
Yeah, I don't even think Yair. I think, Yair is 1-2 in his last 3. I think he jumps right to the title shot. I think you give him Volk. I think he leapfrogs Movsar Evloev because, Movsar's undefeated, all those things, but he's boring. And you know how this sport works. You have a great performance, you immediately leapfrog. Mm-hmm. And Lerone Murphy was kind of boring. He's kind of a boring fighter. And then he went out there, did this. I think you strike while the iron's hot. I think what else does Lerone have to do? What else does he have to do? Like,
this goes right into that whole thing I was just talking about with Kai Bahalo. He's undefeated in the UFC. Chimaev, undefeated in the UFC. Lerone Murphy, undefeated in the UFC. Undefeated, period. You've got to fast track him to the title. So then you can say, oh, my champion's that good. He beat an undefeated fighter. Or if he doesn't, damn, this guy's undefeated. He's my champion. That's it. It's promoter 101, right? You like strike while the iron's hot. Do what you can to suck out all the energy, of the crowd and pump up the guy that's there that is undefeated.
And it was an exciting win. Like, you have that spinning back elbow highlight to use to promote the title fight. If you give him another really tough fight, let's say Movsar beats him, right? Let's say Movsar does what Aaron Pico does, except was able to hold him down the whole time. Now that spinning back elbow is useless. You can't use it to promote a title fight, and that's it. You have an undefeated guy, throw him in there, let Movsar Let him be Yair. Like, just give him somebody just to hold him off for a minute. I think you rush Murphy. Aaron Pico came into the UFC, got a bunch of money, hype prospect. Oh, he's still young. He's what, 28? He's not old. He's not like Pitbull that came over at 38 and you got to figure it out right now. So you have a little bit of time, but there are questions about his chin. It's not the first time he's been knocked out before, but he is very, very good. And he's in a weird spot because you drop him all the way down, make him work his way up, give him kind of a nobody or somebody coming off the contender series, or do you keep him hanging out in the top 15 to see how good he actually is?
I keep him in the top 15. I give him a great fight too. I give him someone who's going to stand, mix it up, going to try to wrestle maybe a tiny bit. I give him Steve Garcia.
Steve Garcia is not a terrible matchup. I went a little higher than that.
Oh, okay.
Steve Garcia is not a terrible matchup at all because you're right. He can do all the things. He's on a wild win streak right now. He's got power in his hands. We just watched Pico get knocked out, so there's a path there. I was actually going to say give Aaron Pico the loser this weekend at UFC Shanghai. Aljamain Sterling is fighting Brian Ortega. Give him the loser of that fight, and it's probably going to be Brian Ortega. If Brian Ortega loses that fight, and then you have Aaron Pico versus Brian Ortega, it's Aaron's opportunity to make a name for himself, get back into the fan graces with a win over a former title challenger and a pretty well-respected guy. So I assume Ortega's going to lose that fight, so I'm going Aaron Pico versus Brian Ortega.
Yeah, I would agree with you probably, and the fact that he just got knocked out, he's not going to be fighting for a bit. And the way he got knocked out, he won't be fighting probably for a while. Steve Garcia could probably get a fight in between now and then. Steve Garcia fought what, like a month ago? You know,
Yeah,
a little over a month maybe. So, like, I don't think anyone's going to be fighting Aaron for probably at least 6 months. I don't.
Yeah, that's why Brian Ortega is perfect. He fights this weekend. They're both on the same timeline.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah, I know. Look, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm saying.
Why do you have a problem with the Brian Ortega matchup?
I don't.
I'm just kidding.
You said winner. You said winner, right? You say winner or loser of that fight?
I said the loser of that fight, which will be Brian Ortega.
You think it's gonna be Brian Ortega?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I like the Steve Garcia fight only because you will get some wrestling, you will get some striking, you will get them scrapping back and forth. Steve Garcia will try to push Pico's cardio. Pico will try to push his cardio. Look, when I'm doing these matchups, I'm doing it majority of the time. Like I'd say 90% of the time, I'm doing it off of like being totally selfish. I want to see the most exciting fight. To me, Steve Garcia and Aaron Pico is an exciting fight. With the Brian Ortega situation, it could be exciting. It could be also, it could also be just like not an exciting fight. It could also not be exciting. And the same thing with the Aljo situation. It could be not exciting. He could just take him down, or he could get to his legs or whatever and hang out there and try to hit submissions, or it could be a not exciting fight. With Steve Garcia, you're going to get an action-packed fight between the two.
Yeah, he'll move forward. He'll throw hands for sure. And yeah, you could get Pico just taking down Ortega and chilling in his guard and avoiding being submitted. Then we go back into the fight to the featured fight. We had Carlos Prates taking on Jeff Neal. Carlos Prates, you mentioned, spinning back elbow knockout. Jeff Neal, a historically very durable guy. Doing that to Jeff Neal is pretty impressive. Jeff Neal's not exactly, top 5, top 10 in the world, but he is durable. He is good. He's fought some of the best to do it. And for Carlos Prates to just, A, be tremendous. That guy is so freaking huge, it's crazy. To A, be tremendous, and B, just be so composed, so ready. And what we saw out of Carlos Prates was more movement than we'd seen before. His side, he looked like MVP. He was moving like crazy side to side, finally finds that spinning back elbow, gets it done. Jeff Neal kind of had an up and down career, a little bit spotty. He can never really build 3, 4, 5 wins together, but he's been in there with some really good guys. I have Carlos Prates versus Joaquin Buckley.
Okay, same. I have the same fight. I have the same exact fight. I think it's a great fight. Both of them are going to stand, trade. Buckley may try to shoot a takedown here and there to let him know it's there. But speed-wise, I give Buckley the advantage. Power-wise, probably even Buckley. The craftiness on the feet, I would give to Prates. Like someone who's going to just throw things that are like just different, and he's going to mix it up from the flying knees to the jumping knee to the spinning kicks he's going to mix it up a little bit. Buckley will do wild and crazy shit, though, with his athleticism. So it makes for a very, very fun fight. Like, I'm surprised because you normally go like the boring route and this and that. Like, I normally go the action-packed fight. That's a great job. Great job. I'm glad we finally...
Thank you so much. You know what it is?
We finally agree.
I'm hungover, so I actually think my brain is firing on all cylinders. It's working overtime to recover.
Sometimes you just gotta slow it down so it can function properly right now. Like you're always running on just
I
50
do go
miles
a
an hour.
million miles an hour.
Yeah,
I
so
talk. I think faster than I can talk too, which is why I have mumble mouth all the time.
I have a huge problem with that as well.
Yeah,
Huge
no,
problem.
everybody knows you for your
Uh,
big thinking brain.
I know. It's so bad. So bad. Look at these fucking guns.
What are you doing with Jeff Neal? I went Jeff Neal versus Kevin Holland. A couple
Okay.
guys that need a win, fan favorites, should be a fun fight.
So I like that fight. I do. Does make it does make sense. It does. But I went with D-Rod. D-Rod's got some hype around him. The
Okay.
two of them will stand and bang it out. Like I said, I'm completely selfish when I want to see fights that are action-packed. Like this is the fight that I would make. I put D-Rod there with Jeff Neal. You know they're going to stand. They're going to trade. D-Rod may do the DDP type wrestling takedowns. Like if I catch the kick, I'm going to fall forward on top of you, that kind of thing. No real wrestling. Yeah, it's just going to be like, but it's going to be a fucking great fight. It's going to be a fun fight. D-Rod's going to rise up even more, or Jeff Neal's going to get back on the win track. So I like Jeff Neal. I like watching him fight. He's got power in his hands. Literally, like he was getting touched up last night, but there was some moments where he was landing some hard shots. And so I felt like it was just a matter of time. If he was able to get Prates to slow down, he could probably have put him away. You never know. That's why Jeff Neal excites me so much when I'm talking about watching him fight certain fighters. Do you know, after the Shavkat fight, he really kind of opened my eyes like, oh, this guy, he'll make any fight grimy and dirty. Like you can take, it doesn't matter if you're the number one contender. He can make you work so hard that it makes it a fun fight. That was a great fight with him and Shavkat. So I think him and D-Rod would be a fantastic fight. And the opportunity for him to get back on track. D-Rod's got a lot of hype around him now that he's got coming off that win. So that's where I'm looking at.
Yeah, a couple of interesting matchups there to make. And Jeff Neal's kind of just a staple of the division. He's been around forever. He'll be around for a little longer. He's always right in the middle of the pack. He's never going to be vying for a meaningful title run, but he's also not a bum, and he could beat a lot of people inside that top 20. If we go to the MVP Jared Cannonier fight, awesome fight. Loved it. Couple of annoyances, though. MVP is so damn good. He's so fast. He's so clean. He's so accurate. But for shit's sake, just finish the damn fight. To have Jared Cannonier almost finished multiple times and then just start doing the basketball dribble and like the showman stuff, just put that dude away. Just put him away, for Christ's sake. But MVP, I mean, it was a completely different levels. Obviously, Jared Cannonier's a little older. I think he's 41, but MVP's not young at 38. But he's still crazy fast. He did not look small. This was at middleweight against one of the bigger middleweights. He didn't look small. He was very fast. His hands are stupid accurate. When he got taken down, I believe in the second round, immediately worked his way back up. When the third round he got taken down, that was his own fault. He got a little too fancy. So he got taken down in the third, had no real answer on the ground after that. So there are some interesting matchups to make. I think MVP is somebody that you want to continue moving forward. He's fun. He's got some personality about him. He's got a different, interesting style. So I don't want to give him just a nasty wrestler, right? Like fluffy. That would be the worst fight we've ever seen. So I have two different matchups for him. He is coming off a win, so it's hard to match him with somebody coming off a loss because Vettori was one of the names. But Vettori's coming off a loss, so you got to win. You know, another matchup where somebody's coming off a loss is Roman Dolidze. I think if you give MVP Roman Dolidze or Marvin Vettori, I know they're both coming off losses, but we got to get MVP up into the rankings without giving him a nasty wrestler. And while both of these guys are technically grapplers, they haven't really been doing that lately.
All right, so he's 38 years old. What are we doing? You know, and so I'm gonna leapfrog everyone you just said. I'm gonna go right to either Israel Adesanya or Sean Strickland. I know Sean's suspended, but I've also had some talks with the commissions, and they said that it won't last long. He'll be back here shortly. So, that being said, I think you give him one of those guys. What are we doing? He's 38 years old. Like,
sure.
You know, you got Sean, you got Izzy. Like, neither one of those guys are really gonna try to take him down. They're not. What's the point? So they're gonna stand. And the only thing that concerns me about the Izzy fight is it could end up with being a fucking breakdancing contest.
Staring at each other, trying to be
cool.
cool.
A boring fight. It could be. Speed, each other, like the reach, the range. It makes for a fun fight. At least in my mind, I have it played out this way. It doesn't mean that it's going to go that way at all. You know, in theory, I've always wanted to see MVP versus Stephen Thompson. Never happened. So it's just
MVP is the one that said you don't want that fight. He's MVP is like, I promise you that's a boring fight.
Yeah, and
which is funny for a fighter to say.
Yeah,
because he's very realistic about what he's like. We are both too technical. That is a boring fight.
And then that's where I get with the Izzy fight. where Sean Strickland, he's just going to try to walk forward, teep kick,
His fights
jab,
are boring as shit lately too.
jab.
But yeah,
But the speed's going to give him some problems. And a lot of people right now, I think even maybe the UFC is like, dude, fucking like you laid a goose egg in the title fight. Now you're out here punching dudes in like low level shows. Like, you know what? Fight MVP. So I could see that he's number 2. You got him. You got MVP. What? Not even in the rankings. He will be. He probably will. Yeah, he'll be number.
That's
9.
why I didn't. Yeah, that's why I didn't shoot him all the way up there. But I do like both those matchups.
So I mean, like for me, I lean more towards the Strickland one because Strickland will just try to walk forward. Where Izzy will just he'll move, try to finesse his way in, and we can end up with a fucking, like I said, breakdancing contest.
Yeah, I mean, I actually like both of those matchups really well because they both could be, they're intriguing. They could, either one of those could headline a fight night or co-main, and a pretty good pay-per-view. So I like both those matchups. Jared Cannonier, he's 41. He didn't get like knocked out or finished. So it's hard to sit here and say, you need to retire. But it's like, what else are we doing? You know what I mean? You fought everybody good. You've lost to most of them. You're definitely on the back 9 of your career. I don't even have somebody matched up for Jared Cannonier. What do you do with him? Maybe Kevin Holland or someone like that.
No, I put him with Kopylov. Kopylov coming off that shitty performance, Jared Cannonier not having a great performance. 41, you're dealing with the younger Kopylov, and you're 41. Like, I don't know what. Let me just try to keep the little bit younger fighter, around. That's it. But that's it. There's not really much I could do there. Not really much I could do.
Yeah, I don't hate the Kopylov or like Kevin Holland. To your point, use them to get one of the younger guys sort of back on track if you can. And then we had the main card opener. Tim Elliott beats, takes a couple of shots along the way, but beats Kai. And Kai Asakura,
lost every second of that fucking fight until the fucking submission.
He got a couple of takedowns there, 3.
Yeah, he got right back up. The takedowns don't count for shit if you don't actually do anything.
They do when you then grab somebody's neck and squeeze it.
The last one. Gosh, Angelo, stay on track, please. Come on. It's just the last one. He was able. I loved it. I thought I was very excited for him to get that finish. Very nicely done.
I was all over Tim Elliott. Listen, my breakdown of that fight was, what has Kai Asakura done to be a 3-1 favorite? He lost to Pantoja. And I get it's Pantoja, but he still came in here, lost to Pantoja. We've never seen Kai Asakura have any meaningful win inside of a cage. He beat Manel Kopp, 5-6 years ago in a ring. That is different. And I knew Tim Elliott, I was worried about the 20-month layoff, but I knew he would come in and get after it. He's gritty, he's grimy, he'll shoot his takedowns. What I didn't love about Tim Elliott is he was just too willing to hang out standing.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing, dude? Shoot a freaking takedown. Because when he finally tried to start wrestling, he had plenty of success. So now we have an old Tim Elliott. He's 38 years old. He's lost to some of the better people already, because I was originally going to match him up with Tagir Ulanbekov. He's already lost that fight. So we have an older Tim Elliott who just beat somebody that the UFC sort of brought in. This division's kind of coming apart here because Pantoja's so good. Then he has Josh Van. There's nobody. Who else? There's like nobody else that we're like, oh, this person, that person. So we're in a weird spot here. So
sleeping on Brandon Moreno. I know he's been the former champion.
He's already lost. I love Brandon Moreno, but he's lost to Pantoja twice.
Like some ridiculous amount.
So it's like, you know what I mean? Like the
they
UFC
four
needs
times,
to,
I believe, right?
He just keeps losing to him.
Yeah,
so however many times they fought,
they 4 times. Wow.
So the UFC he needs to get some 25-pounders on some sort of streak to get them to Pantoja, and it's just not happening in this division right now. Tim Elliott's not going to end up there, but I said Asu Almabayev, because maybe Asu can win that fight and be fun and spin around and make it a showcase, and then he's somebody you can kind of rush to the top.
Yeah, that's exactly who I had for him. I also had Tatsu Taira, just because Taira is good on the ground. Tim Elliott's crafty and fun. Let's not forget, I know that he's older now, Tim Elliott is, but let's not forget how well he did against Demetrius Johnson. That's what's kept him around in this game for so long. That one performance gave him clout to be like, hey man, I took someone you guys consider pound for pound. I took him all, the distance. I did what I was supposed to do. And I thought those type of performances, he still has them in the bag. And we saw it last night with Kai Asakura. He didn't look great in the first round. He was getting touched quite a bit. Got a couple takedowns.
And made no adjustments. That's what frustrated me. Made zero adjustments. It was just getting hit.
Sometimes, look, You're out there, and then when you get back to your corner's like, okay, just do this a little bit or do this a little bit. And then you come out, and the fighters that actually fucking listen, it works. Look at, oh, wow, my corner was right. I just try it. I might win. I thought it was great, though. I thought, look, he did a beautiful job of attacking the neck, arm-in guillotine. And then as Kai went to bridge in, he stepped over. And what I loved is he actually abandoned the arm-in guillotine, posted the hand, and then shot the one deeper, palm up, and then went back to it as he based him out and then hipped in. Beautifully done. Rockhold was famous for that move because his arms were so long. Nate Diaz is also very good at it because I've grappled Nate as well, not just fought him. I grappled him when he was younger, when we were both younger, a lot younger, in the tournament. And he's really good at sinking in those chokes. That style right there was perfect. Tim Elliott looked fantastic, man. I thought it was great. I went with Asul Alabayev as well. I thought that a good markup. You don't want to jump him too much to like an Albazi. I would give him Tyra just because Tyra's coming off the win. He's coming off the win. If you're however old Tim Elliott is, 38, 37?
He's a 38, I believe.
Give him a run. Let him see it. Let's see what happens. You beat Tyra, cool. If you don't, whatever. No.
If you don't, then you at least have Tyra to, because after Van, Tyra's the only other person that you could make a real case for to get a title shot.
What about Brandon Royval? It would be a fun fight. I mean, like, have they
for Tim Elliott? That would be a very fun fight.
But have they fought before? I'm sorry, I don't.
Brandon Royval has fought everybody, and running through Tim Elliott's record, he has as well. But I do not think the two of them have fought. No.
Let me see here. I don't think they have. And
Royval has also talked about.
They have. He lost to him by arm triangle
6 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, 5 years. So Royval, I believe, mentioned he wants to move up to 35 as well. So he may not even be sticking around at this weight class.
Oh, got it. Okay. Well,
what are you doing with Kai Asakura? I've got a fun matchup for him because, and I'll let you give yours first. But
no, I want yours first. I actually didn't match him up because I didn't know what to do with him. I'm like,
because you brought him in. You told the world that he's the second best featherweight on the planet.
Yeah.
You gave him a title shot, submitted. Then you give him what? I mean, what does Tim Elliott rank, like number 20? Then you give him like the 20th ranked guy in the world, expecting him to get a win. He gets finished. So now you spent all this money. You brought him in. He's supposed to be coming with a fan base. And what do you do with him? Bruno Silva is who I gave him. An old guy who's going to strike with him, not be, is kind of dangerous. But if Bruno Silva's knocking out Kai, then you just got to send him his walking papers. So I said Bruno Silva.
Now that I've actually, I was expecting you to say someone else.
Who?
Fucking Steve Erceg.
Yeah, beat that bum.
For sure. You're like, fuck this guy. Give him fucking Steve.
Oh, dude, honestly, let Tim Elliott beat Steve Erceg's dumb. I can't stand. I'm Steve Erceg's biggest hater for no reason whatsoever.
Well, see, now that you've just started talking, Steve Erceg came in my mind. I give him Ode Osborne. Ode's not going to try to wrestle. You're going to get a stand-up fight. Let these guys scrap. Let them get after it, man. Like, I'm back into the whole, like, what's best for the fans. We're going to fucking Netflix, man. Let's fucking go. Or not Netflix. We're
Paramount.
going to
oh my
Paramount.
God.
Let's go. Like, let's just go ahead and fucking match up the best fights.
That actually is a good matchup because it's fun, it's exciting, two stand-up guys. Because to Kai's, I don't want to say credit, that's not the right word, but unfortunately for Kai, he got two very good grapplers right off the rip, and he's not a grappler. And just right off the rip, they're like, here's two grapplers.
Well, that's what the UFC does when you come from another promotion. I mean, like, let's stop pretending like they want these guys to win their first one or two fights. And then after they get adjusted and look, we've beaten them twice already. Let's go ahead and now we'll give them some favorable matches.
We've beaten them down. Let's build them back up.
Yeah, let's build them back up. That's really what it comes
military.
Down to, really comes down to. What did you rate the card out of 10?
Overall, it felt like a good card. It was a fun card, and it's tricky because the main event was insanely dominant. Mm-hmm. It kind of took a little bit of the wind out of the sails, which people are hating on Khamzat for that and like calling him boring. That wasn't. You can't blame the guy who dominated 99% of the fight for the boring fight. Blame the guy who didn't get up. So it was a weird card. I would say like 7.5. It wasn't like. I mean, there was some. Obviously, the Pico fight was awesome, the Laurel Murphy knockout, but we had like a couple of first-round knockouts. We had, I don't know. It just felt like...
You're such a hard grader.
That's 75%. That's a C. That's a solid C.
Think about that. That's a C. I mean...
I'm just rating it off pure entertainment.
Did you lose...
I made a ton of money if you're about to ask
No, I didn't say. Did you lose interest a little bit because the main event was what it was?
After the second round, you're just kind of sitting there like, all right, more of this.
Nothing's gonna change. Nothing's gonna
And
change.
I like, I don't want to. I love that Khamzat did that. I love that he dominated, but it was literally 20 minutes of, because the first 5 is exciting. Like, oh my God, he's in a crucifix already. Then the second round, oh my God, another 30 seconds in, another crucifix. And then it's like, all right, like, okay, there's nothing happening. And the co-main event was less than a round. The featured fight was less than a round. Kaya Sakura fight was 1.5 rounds. Like, the finishes are great, but you're like, I don't know. We didn't get a drag them out, like, let's go type war.
Yeah, I mean, we did kind of in the prelims though. Like the Godinez fight was a really good fight.
That was fun. That was a fun
fight. The kid from the Dana White Contender Series in Nolan, that was fun. I mean, he got.
Let's talk about him very quickly. Yeah, that dude's not as good as.
No.
Like, he is not who they're. And granted, that dude fought twice in 6 days. He had to cut weight twice. He did all the. So, we'll have to wait till the next fight before we decide if he's amazing or horrible. But he's very hittable. He's very hittable.
He's off the Dana White Contender Series. He's not fucking breaking into the top 10 or 15. Let's calm down for a second there.
I agree. And then they took him and they made him the featured prelim of a massive pay-per-view.
And it ended up working out. He got rocked at the end of the first. It was exciting. I think he got carried away with a little bit too much showboating. The pointing, this and that. But then it comes out and gets the win in the second. He made the adjustments he needed to. Give the kid some credit, man. Fought 2 times in 4 days, 5 days.
Oh, no, I'm giving him credit. And he made weight, unlike Brian Battle's fat ass.
Jesus, man.
Brian Battle couldn't make weight with 2 months' notice. This dude made weight with 4 days' notice, twice.
Do they cut him?
Brian Battle? Yeah. I would.
Yeah.
Or there's something going on in that guy's life and he needs some help, because he missed weight at 170 and then won a close hugging split decision. Mm-hmm. Then he moves up an entire weight class, misses weight then. After talking shit all week, was talking shit about Nurzulton. I'm on the prelims because Nurzulton sucks. Just to miss weight by 4 pounds. And they originally said they were keeping the fight on the card, but then they canceled it. So I don't know why I don't know if Nurzulton refused to fight or what happened, but they originally said, the UFC said the fight's good, 30% fine, but that obviously changed. So I don't know what changed in real life, but I think you kind of do have to cut him and just send a message to everybody else.
Yeah, my dog walk pick of the week was Chase Hooper, and I got fucking dog walked myself on that pick because I had Chase
striking
Hooper.
So bad, dude.
It's not just that it's bad; it's that he's slow and he leaves himself out there. But not only that, look, I've also thought it was a little bit of early stoppage because I wanted Chase Hooper to get to the second and the third round. I said this: I go, Alexander Hernandez is going to win the first round. Just throw that fucking round out the door. It's very positive. It's very true. He's going to lose. Chase Hooper's going to lose the first round. Get to the second, get to the third when Alexander Hernandez starts to slow down, starts to become more hittable, starts easier to get taken down, and all those. And I think that Chase was going to be able to get to him, get to his back, use his length, all those things. Never got there. Damn it. I was so pissed. And he was one of the biggest favorites. He was like minus 325, I think, early when I was talking about that.
Yeah, he was the biggest favorite on the card before they added the Contender Series kid in the Ultimate Fighter finale. He was the biggest favorite on the card. And I said, I picked Chase, but I said this is a very good matchup for Alexander Hernandez because he's fast as hell. He's got good takedown defense. He's wildly athletic. I'll lean Chase because Chase seems to be actually adding real wrestling, not jiu-jitsu nerdery, like shoot a double. None of that was there. And as soon as he got hit a few times by Alexander Hernandez, he was like frozen. The speed like froze him.
Yeah, it's too
He was
fast.
like, oh my God, this guy's too fast. I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Didn't even panic wrestle. He was so panicked, he didn't even panic wrestle. And it was just not a good night for Chase Hooper.
I was screaming at the TV, though, on this other fight was Edson Barboza and Jakar Close. Like, Jakar had him knocked out on his feet against the fence and decided to fucking hug him. I'm like, what do you do? If I'm the corners and the coaches, make space, touch him. Don't look for the knockout. Just touch him. He was fucking out.
Yeah, he was.
Like the fucking fence. It was literally like Phil Baroni, Dave Monet. The fence was holding him up. And I'm like, what are you? Just make space and fucking throw. Oh, it drove me crazy. Drove me absolutely nuts. But he ended up getting the win anyways. And, and so.
Yeah, it all worked itself out. I think the prelims were better than the main card. And I know that sounds insane because we had a bunch of finishes on the main card. The Pico finish was the most exciting one because it was an upset. It was a come from behind type finish. But you've said this before. where you're like, these one-sided fights are not that exciting. It's just like, boom, boom, done. Yeah, of course we knew that was going to happen. But, you know, I'm happy for the card. I love that Khamzat won so dominantly. Like, fan-wise, in that 25-minute span, it would have been nice to have a drag-him-out war. But I love that he left, because now we are all like, holy shit, who can beat this guy? And that's the feeling you want. You want to be like, oh my God, he might never lose.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about that, and hyping up the next fight. What did you rate the card?
I gave it a 9.
Jesus Christ.
I gave it a 9.
We couldn't be farther apart.
Yeah, we couldn't be. Yeah. Like, you're like the typical casual. Like, they all suck. Fuck them. They're all horrible.
I think they're all great. Dude,
Damn,
75 is good.
Disgusting.
I rate fight cards like how Portnoy rates pizza. An 8 is like the best pizza you've ever had in your life. I think a 7.5 is a good fight card.
Really?
I enjoyed it. It was a good fight card. Was it amazing?
No,
You're one
a good fight grade away from not passing. That's how bad that is. That's the C.
A D passes as well. You're 2 grades away. An
Not
F,
in the real world.
an F is failure.
If you give me D level performances, you're fucking out on your ass. It's over. If I'm getting D level performances from my fighters, you're fucking gone. Gone. You know, even C level performances, you're like, I'm out. Start thinking about that when you're grading these. Like, anything, it's got to be a B or better. You got to have a 3.0. You've got to have a 3.0 or higher. At least in my house.
I'll start grading them on a higher scale, and everything happening behind me tells me that we're done here. So my name is Angelo. This is Josh Hobson. Thanks for watching a What's Next episode of Bad Takes. Let us know who you would match up and what you see happening next for DDP and Khamzat. Like, subscribe. It's a new channel, so lock in for all the content we're bringing.